Okay, everyone stand around and look at each other.
I'm fighting
For these comments, I thought it might be nice to have a camera rolling, and it's pretty much an open mic. With I've asked Mr. Cohen to say a few words here at conclusion. I guess it helps when the open mic is turned on. And I'm going to step over here because I have a few comments from people that couldn't be here, and I wanted to go ahead and read those off to you too. This is Katie, my daughter, by the way. She's handling our cameras tonight. You may have seen her, wondered if she was supposed to be at that youth event over there, and she's not. I just got a couple here. And, you know, I might add, some of these people that are here in this room have traveled, well, in excess of 100 miles. At least one I know that's come further than that. It just means that much to us. And this first is from Rob and Derek Lee. And they say, give our best to Mr. Cohen from the Lee brothers. Great memories of flutophones, Berylwood owl paper, including press pass to Roma School and gate education. Oh, and I printed a picture along with these. You can take off with these later, but there's the Lee brothers. And by the way, I don't know who they are. Somebody here does. Mike? Oh, actually, okay. All right, good. And Trevor? Okay. From Letitia Bailiff. I couldn't locate her for the longest time because I misspelled Letitia. Finally found out that actually Mike is
spelled amendment.
Huh? Well, it's like spellers.
You also misspelled amendment.
You misspelled spellers. I didn't. Did I? I thought I looked it up. 2 M's? Yeah. I would love to be there to share with Mr. Cohen how much he has influenced my life in every positive way. But I'm in the last months of a high-risk pregnancy and my doctor won't let me travel. She's in Las Vegas, by the way. Please let him know how much I will miss being there, and how truly grateful and lucky I was, we all were, to have him as a teacher, mentor, and role model for 3 years. Funny that I sing many of his songs to my boys. If I Ran the School is a big hit with my 7-year-old, and I am amazed I remember the words. You know, the time I was in his class was instrumental in giving me confidence in all areas of my life, which I cannot thank him enough for, and which I try to instill in my children every day. So that was Letitia Bailiff. From Alicia Polinsky. Just contacted her today, and she sent this along. And some others had just recently found Alicia and found that she's famous in her own right. She's put together a fairly large choir in her hometown in Colorado, I think it is. So she started her message, "To tell the truth, we're having a ball. A do-do-do-do-do-be-do-wah." And by the way, I had visions of us trying to get the words to that song and perform it here tonight, and I'd be grateful I couldn't find the words. What a treat to hear from you. Please share that being in this class with this man shaped the woman I became. Giving us the gifts of music and independence as learning tools was the best thing that Mr. Cohen could have possibly done, both as a teacher and as an inspiration. I am the proud founder and chairman of my Colorado town of Parker's Community Choir, now in its 3rd season with 75 members. It was the evening with 504 and the days spent starting our own business and selling our goods that gave me the foundation I needed to be successful. I think that business actually was a carryover from Mr. Cruson's class. Those of us who came over, we'd had the micro community. I have very fond memories of my time at Berylwood and Mr. Cohen's class. I wish I could be there to reconnect with everyone. Please feel free to pass along my contact information. It has her email. She's a little difficult to find on Facebook, so if you want to come by, I'll just leave these up here, and it has her contact information. There's a picture of her with her daughter there. And then I just thought I'd just go ahead and share my comments and then open it up to anyone else. Specifically, I was asking Trevor to try to fill the gap of the Atherwood years, so you can, as you said, be a bit verbose, and we wouldn't mind that a bit. My entire family has heard about you for as long as they've known me. The way that I treat people, and even the way that I speak, is based a lot on what I watched you doing for those 2 years that I was had the privilege of knowing you, of getting to know you. You took athletes and convinced them that they could be musicians. You took geeks and taught them how to play flag football. And in fact, in one of the pictures there, you'll see me wearing a football jersey. Unfortunately, it's number 32. Not the greatest hero to have. It was O.J. Simpson. But thanks for that. The comments that you'll be hearing tonight were not born in the 1970s, or rather they've been burning in us since the 1970s. They aren't born now. They aren't just present in our minds and our hearts tonight because we're here talking to you. We've carried them with us for that long. And I think I speak for all of us in that regard. And that's about it. It's just being here tonight is a tribute to what a magnificent facilitator you were. And during our interview, he used that word, not so much a teacher as a facilitator. You teach yourself. You find these things out for yourself. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but that impressed me. And so thank you. We love you, and it's magnificent seeing you here tonight. It's a dream come true. So thanks. Okay, come on up.
It's not just the students that remember him. There were 2 happenings at school that stay in my mind. I had bought Mike a little organ, and he came home one day and started playing a song, and I said, "How did you know how to play that?" He said, "I watched a girl playing on the piano at school." He watched the girl play it, came home and played it himself. That shocked me. The other thing, you and the other male teacher had a bet. Michael would not leave the classroom when school was over. Do you remember his?
Jerry Cruson. Cruson.
Yeah.
He bet, they had a bet that he, the other teacher, could get Mike to leave the room. So he says, Cohen says, come on in. And I was there that day, and Mike's back at the piano. And what's Crusoe?
Cruson. C-R-U-S-O-N.
Cruson said, he stood by the door and he said, Michael, come here, I want to show you something. So Mike walks over and he says, did you know, and he thought he could get Mike to walk out the door with him as he backed out. Mike turned around and went back to the piano. It didn't work. The bet didn't win. And I've always thought that was very funny.
I won the bet. Dan could get Mike out at 2:30. Well, let me just jump in because it's one of my favorite memories. I always felt that the only important commodity in the classroom was the student. You know, bulletin boards and homework and nonsense. The important element was the child. And at 2:30, when the child leaves, there's nothing left to do. I mean, why bulletin, you know, whatever, papers and tests and so on. The child leaves, there's nothing left of any importance. And Mr. Cruson and I would arrange to meet at 2:35, get a cup of coffee or something like that, and then go our separate ways. And I was never there on time. I couldn't get out of the classroom. I said, well, I can't get Mike Hickson out of the classroom. I literally, I would, as Mrs. Hickson was describing, I would try and drag him out. He couldn't go. So Mike says, I'll show you what to do. So I said, I'll bet you, well, I don't know whether the bet was a nickel or a dollar, not important, but I'll bet you I can get him out. So we make the arrangement that day. Mike Cruson comes into the classroom, walks. Mike was sitting in the back of that U. And Cruson walks over, puts his arm around Mike, and starts to walk toward the door. And they're talking and talking, and Cruson's talking. All of a sudden, he's talking to nobody. But Mike very quietly made a U-turn and went back. So I thank you for reminding me of that one. So
I've been called out, so. So it's great to be here, and it's wonderful to see you and to see. I was kind of, I think, a generation behind most of you here. I had the distinct honor of being one of two people to go from Berylwood to Atherwood with Mr. Cohen, and felt like a roadie. Felt very special. I had a backstage pass. Yeah, and then we ended up. We had a great rapport that year. It was fantastic, and I was at a party last Saturday night, and I approached these two people, and one of them says, "Hey, Trevor, do you know any riddles?" And I said, "Yeah, I know some riddles. Like, what are you talking about?" He says, "All right, so he says, okay, something like this. There's this guy that lives on the 20th floor. He takes the elevator to work every day, but when he goes home, he only goes up to the 7th floor, unless somebody else is in the elevator with him. Then he goes all the way home." I said, "Yeah, well, that's because he's a midget, and he can't reach the upper button and get up there." And then I realized that we learned so many riddles in your class that we went for 2 hours to about 3 in the morning, back and forth with these riddles. When Dan had approached me about speaking here, I realized that those years in your classroom, and especially after seeing a beautiful piece of work that you put together and being reminded that it's truly a golden age that I think we've all been very fortunate to be a part of. You know, and I was sort of thinking about the concept of the GATE classroom and thinking, okay, what is GATE, and who is there a governing body that decides these are gifted and talented, you know, people, and takes them together and puts them in a room with you? And you know, I was I mean, just the process of selection makes you kind of, a little different or special or something. You're, gifted. I remember one time working on the newspaper, and somebody in the school had been selected for, I don't know, something, or, they won a race, and I started writing, they announced John was selected, and you just stopped and said, no, wait, no. You said, you can do better than that. The voice poured from the speaker into the classroom. And I remember that vividly, and years go by, junior high happens, I became bully magnet, blocker imprints on the side of my face through junior high. Got to high school in 10th grade, my English teacher had pulled my paper from a stack, and she read it to the class, and I remember one line from it was a story about a ferry ride to Catalina. It was describing the chain link fence it was in San Pedro, and I just remember saying, the rust glistened dangerously in the shards of sunlight. And she read that, and then all of a sudden, everybody kind of turned and looked, and I felt for the first time that people actually noticed there was somebody in the seat. And I felt like you gave me the tools to actually become somebody and use that voice and to break out of that straight line of monotony. And I feel like that little seed that you planted on that day was sprouting. And through my life, it's definitely grown into a nice, mature fruit tree, and I pick from it every day. And I want to thank you for letting us all feel that we're not different, but we're exceptional. Thanks for giving.
What the heck, I'm not shy.
The microphone's set for your height anyway.
Oh, perfect.
I was wrong.
I had name tag issues. I'm Jen Gerard, for those of you who remember me. I just want to say, my whole life I've been so confident, and I think that's all because of you. I felt like if there was something that you didn't do really well, Mr. Cohen, he always encouraged us. It was like you always felt like you could do anything. And I know that in my life, the more that people tell me that I can't do something, the more determined I am to do it. And I think that's because of you.
Who did that 30 years ago? Oh, that nice looking girl.
It was a long time ago, wasn't it? 30 years ago?
Okay. The obvious things that I should say that, the joy of seeing you here has made all the years that I put into teaching worthwhile. Kids spend a couple of years with you, and they come and they go, and for most people, it's the go part, that you're left with. But the fact that I see so many people through the years in the supermarket aisle. One kid I met coming in and out of the health facility there, I had to take a TB test for your 10-year school thing or whatever, and it's never been where I had to hide from somebody, from parents or children. It was always a joy because, if you love what you do, it becomes very infectious, and I had hoped to make everybody, including you people, feel, like school is okay, it's all right. Conceivably and particularly very boring a lot of the times, but it doesn't have to be. And I know I didn't have the eloquence to say the things that I really feel, And I came across something about a year ago, and I saved it because I thought it was a great piece of literature, and I thought, you know, no need for, I'll never have the opportunity to use it again, until all of a sudden this evening came about, and I found it, and I'd like to share it with you. I didn't write it, I just was smart enough to read it and save it. During a dinner party, a self-important business executive said, "The problem with our education system starts with teachers. What can our kids learn from people who decided their best option in life was to become a teacher? Those who can do, those who can't teach." A guest protested, "I've been a teacher for 20 years and that's simplistic and unfair." "Really?" the executive said. "Then be honest, what do you make?" "I suppose you're thinking of money," the teacher replied. "I earn enough, but let me tell you what I make. I make other people's children read, think, write, wonder, and talk about important things such as the world and their role in it. I make them appreciate the value of education, not simply as a way to make a living, but as a way to make a life. I make them work harder than they wanted to and accomplish more than they thought possible. I encourage them to be skeptical without being cynical and optimistic without being naive. I make them understand that the quality of their lives will be determined by their choices, and I make them take responsibility for their actions. I make them feel proud, capable, and worthy when they try hard. I make them appreciate the importance of integrity and honor in a world that too often shows little regard for either. I make them respect themselves and treat others with respect. I make them feel proud and grateful to live in America where people are entitled to be treated fairly and with respect and judged by their accomplishments and character, not by their color, creed, or size of their bank accounts. Most of all, I make a difference." So now, the teacher said to the executive, "Tell us all what you make."
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, I've had such a good time seeing you all tonight that I think we ought to make this a recurring event. Every 20 years or 30 years. In 2041, we'll do this again.
Catch me
in
around.
this very room here. Okay? Thank you all so much. God love you all. Thank you.